Brazilian wetlands are burning in winter. Oh, really? This is Libertarian View, your source of decentralized and distributed information. We are past the middle of the year, near the end of winter in the southern hemisphere. It's the dry season in the Amazon and Pantanal regions. And, as is tradition when the government faction is now left-wing socialist, environmental criticism begins. Every year, in July and August, the number of wildfires in both the Amazon rainforest and Pantanal wetlands usually increases due to the arrival of the dry season. Typically, fire activity peaks in early September and mostly stops by November. The logic behind it is obvious. The lesser the rain, the drier the vegetation becomes, starting fires more easily. Farmers take advantage of it to clear land for farming and cattle raising. This is how agriculture is practiced in the region since long before Europeans arrived in Brazil, the old name for what is now called banana lands. Despite the leftists whining and crying, last year there was a massive global campaign against wildfires in the Amazon rainforest. Artists and politician parasites around the world reported wildfires in the Amazon by posting outdated photos or photos of other places. Supposed scientists, in quotation marks, and useful idiots spread the message everywhere. One in particular paid tribute to the Amazon by posting a photo of her painted chest showing a giraffe trapped by the flames. Yeah, a species from Africa. It was touching to see the global commotion on something that did not happen. We don't deny the existence of wildfires in the Amazon last year. The point is, this phenomenon occurs every single year. Actually, the official data has shown that fire detections in 2019 were below average compared to the historical records. The issue was less severe than 2015 and 2017, and even less problematic when compared to the 2000s. Of course, if we consider that the official records published by state agencies are real. So, despite the media whirlwind, was 2019 unprecedented in terms of wildfires in the Amazon rainforest? No, the answer is no. Now, in 2020, the focus is on Pantanal. Why? Well, that's because wildfires in the Amazon were reduced this year. Again, this time of the year a lot of burning happens there. Again, for the same reason, farmers are clearing land areas for agriculture and cattle raising. Most of those areas have been already used for the purpose. They are not forested areas or wetlands anymore, but pastures and farmlands. Of course, it's undeniable that a few areas of pristine forest were burned, because the dry season wildfires can easily get out of control. But it is a much smaller problem than socialists try to sell it. In the end, we all know what's going on. Bananian left socialists, discontent with being defenestrated by the population, insist on raising the environmental agenda as a political ploy. They clearly want to stop trade agreements and foreign investment possibilities because they need the government to go off the rails. They know that if Soros' administration is marginally acceptable, the left will never return to power again. The tendency will be for the government to oscillate among right-wing statist criminal factions. Traditional media is already dead here in Banana Land and is no longer able to impose the socialist worldview on us. But in Europe, they can still do it. So they use the propaganda to try to persuade West European socialists not to do any business with Banana Land, allegedly because the government is deliberately destroying nature. Yes, that's what is being told. Of course, they know that the news coming from Banana Land to Europe does come through traditional media. Thus, no one will be willing to listen to the reasoning against its meaningless propaganda. That strategy fails only because traditional socialist media has gone by the wayside all over the world for the same reason as in Banana Land. Decentralized and distributed information systems guarantee higher quality information with less political bias. We do not claim that video sharing platform channels are neutral. No, they are not. This channel is not neutral either and will never be. But the internet provides us with channels with all sorts of political biases, and this guarantees neutrality. You can consume a balanced news diet, get the full picture, and think for yourself, avoiding manipulation and fake news. That's different from big news companies that claim to be neutral, but blatantly support socialism. This leftist trick will lead to victories only where they had already won. Socialist governments, NGOs, and socialist entities have already sided with them, but the people see the truth beyond. Our point is not that Bulbasaur's administration is doing great regarding environmental issues, because no, it is not. The point is that it is doing just as well as, or as bad as, former left-wing administrations. And this reinforces our point that any government is a complete mess when it comes to dealing with environmental issues. There is only one way to address the environmental issue seriously and effectively, with private property. By transferring the control of the Amazon, Pantanal, and other biomes to private entities, the owners would be responsible for them and would be interested in the best possible outcomes. Since biodiversity is wealth, there would certainly be an incentive for preserving natural resources. We are sure that rich Hollywood celebrities wouldn't mind buying big chunks of forested areas to preserve them. We are also sure that concerned individuals would be much better than governments at preserving the natural environment. And those who don't agree that environmental preservation is profitable simply wouldn't preserve it, but they couldn't care less regardless. The point is, decisions have to be local, individual-based, property-based. Governments use violence when they decide to solve a wholesale problem by attacking individuals and properties on a large scale. Governments only intensify the problem because there is no actual economic incentive for preservation, only scribbled papers, which they call laws, and a lot of violence. If biodiversity is a resource that will bear fruit in the future, there will certainly be an evil capitalist willing to preserve it, to reap huge profits in return. But if it doesn't, well, why should we preserve it then? The market, on an individual scale, makes better decisions about how much to preserve and how much to use from any biome, from any scarce resource. Of course, the fact that animals are dying is a terrible thing. The Pantanal wetlands are indeed beautiful and worth knowing and preserving. But the fact is that letting the government take care of the environment is to ensure environmental destruction. And it only gets worse when it's used for politics because incentives are twisted. It's not difficult to imagine the leftist socialists would set fire to forests to help the cause. We do not claim that this is happening in this case, only that it's not impossible to happen. In fact, members of an NGO were arrested last year for setting fire to an area of the Amazon, only to profit by taking pictures of the wildfires. Socialism only gets in the way. Local decisions in the hands of individuals are much better in the short and long term. Fortunately, we're moving quickly towards anarcho-capitalism. This will be the reality in a few decades. The environment will be saved due to the end of state violence. Thanks for watching! This article was originally written by Peter Turguniev, translated by Elon Tolstoy, and revised and narrated by Baby Yoda. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video on your social network. If you want to be notified of other videos, hit subscribe and then the bell icon. See you soon!